Well, good afternoon, everybody. You may have seen my message that I am trying out, where is it? My microphone again. Okay, so please let me know, is it working? Can you hear me? If you can't, I will stop and start again, although of course you can't hear me saying that if the sound's not working. It's a bit of a tricky one to get working this time, but I'm just going to chat slightly inanely until I get a comment telling me whether or not you can hear me. So let's try that, see what happens. It doesn't look like there's anybody joining me yet, but hopefully somebody will soon. What time is it? Just 2 o'clock, so there's time yet. Okay, so I'm getting ready for Christmas. I've got lots of things still to do. I've done lots of Christmas shopping and generally things are going okay, I think. So what I'm going to do, if nobody joins me, of course, and tells me how the sound is, I'm not quite sure, but we'll see. I know a few people have said that they're going to be joining, so let's hope that that happens. So if you're watching, do please let me know if you can hear me. That would be really helpful. In fact, I'm going to type something to that effect. That would be helpful, wouldn't it? Let's see. Okay. Bear with me, and I'll just type something on my iPad. You can hear me. Fantastic, Maria. Thank you so much. That is really, really helpful. Brilliant. So let's hope that the microphone carries on, because the one on my phone is okay, but if I move very much, the sound comes and goes and it's not brilliant. So hopefully, whatever the issue was that I've been having with Facebook will resolve itself. So let's see. Right, I'm just going to try and get myself up on my iPad, and then with any luck, I can see exactly what's going on, and in a minute when I move the camera, I should be able to see if you can actually see. Belinda saying the sound's good there too. Fantastic. Thank you very much for letting me know. That is helpful. Good. Well, long may that continue. Of course, there's nothing to say that it won't suddenly drop out, but if it does, let me know. Okay, so I was starting to witter on about Christmas. I'd like to know, how ready are you for Christmas? Did somebody tell me 3 weeks till Christmas Eve today? Does that sound right? Something like that. Not very long anyway. I need more Christmas cards. I haven't written many cards at all yet. I've got the vast majority of them to write, and I must write my ones for America at the weekend because they've got to go in the post on Monday at the latest. I have almost finished the Christmas shopping, and I've wrapped most of what I've bought, so I'm quite pleased about that. I'm going Christmas shopping again tomorrow with my daughter and her girlfriend, so that should be a fun day. It's a kind of a browse and feel festive day as much as it is a shopping day. I'm sure there will be stops for coffee along the way, so that will be good. I'm looking forward to that. What else am I doing this weekend? I'm also having dinner out with my sister and brother-in-law. That will be really nice. We haven't caught up in absolutely ages, despite the fact that she only lives a 15-minute drive from me. We don't see that much of each other. So I'm very much looking forward to that. And my craft room really, really needs a tidy. Oh my goodness, it's a disgrace. I'm not going to show you. What's behind me is not very tidy, but what's over there is even worse. I think I said this to you last week. I seem to remember I said this to you last week. It's just got worse actually, because I've had a busy week. I had a big class yesterday, which was a lot of fun. And I've been preparing for my last 2 events of the year. And then that will be that. So Maureen's here and she's saying hello to everyone. You're very welcome, Maureen. Hi. So what do I need to tell you about? Well, first of all, we're in the last few weeks of the July to December mini catalogue. And what that means is that the things that are not going to continue to be available are only now while stocks last. I sent out a list of all of those things to everybody on my mailing lists. If you haven't received one and you would like one, let me know. The quickest way to find out if something you want is still available is to go to my online shop and to type in the item code, the 6-number item code, into the search box, and that will straight away tell you whether or not it's still available. Quite a lot of the things that are discontinuing have reduced in price, so you might be able to pick yourself up a bargain there. I am putting in an order first thing tomorrow morning, so if there is anything that you want, let me know by tonight, and then I can order that for you for tomorrow. Some things are carrying over and will continue to be available after Christmas, and some things will not be available after the end of the catalogue, which is just into January, but will come back again in the same catalogue next year. So a few of the festive things will be back next year. So that's always nice to know if you had some favourites. I'm just going to cough, excuse me. Okay, Antriana is here and she says hello to everybody. And you are most welcome too, Antriana. Nice to have you with us. All right, so that's the retiring list. My new catalogues, which go live in January, have been picked and packed and have left the warehouse, so very exciting. I don't know how long they're going to take to get here. I do think that customs ought to be alerted to the fact that we need our parcels especially fast this time of year, because I want my new catalogues to send out to you, and I also want to get my hands on all the new goodies that I have ordered. So I will be having some playtime with that over the Christmas holidays, which I'm very much looking forward to, and I'll be bringing you new goodies in all my classes from January. I've set all the dates for the January to June classes. If you haven't had a list of those but would like one, then I can send that out to you, just let me know. And bookings close today for the January card class, that's the in-person event, and also for the card class by post, which is the same projects but posted out to you with photographs and written instructions. So bookings close tonight for those. You can find more information on my website, or just let me know. But I place the orders tomorrow and then I start designing and preparing, so that is that. So Belinda has been very excitedly unpacking a large box delivered by Mr. Brown this morning. Well, I'm not surprised you're saying yippee, Belinda. I am very, very envious. I don't suppose I shall get mine for at least 10 days, but then I didn't expedite it, so so that would be why. Which reminds me, actually, I am due a delivery from Mr. Brown today. It's not very big, so he might just poke it through the letterbox, but equally he might ring the bell, and if he does, apologies, because I will have to jump up and go and answer the door. Because there's nobody else in the house except the dog today, and she can't be trusted with cardboard box deliveries. So hopefully he won't come while I'm chatting to you, but he might. As always, it's a super helpful thing if you can like and share this video. It's just the little buttons at the bottom. Please do that, and then other people can see me, so that would be great. And if you would like to rewatch it at any time, it's available on Facebook, but you can also go to my YouTube channel, which has got the same name, Handmade at Home with Sally Bowman, and you can watch it over there as well, obviously at any time, and all the rest of it, replay it, stop and start it. If you do watch things on my YouTube channel, hit the subscribe button, because that way you'll get told when I put out a new video. I do at least one a week, which is this live, and then other ad hoc ones. I'm trying to include making more videos in my schedule, but I need to get ahead with a few other things first. So it takes quite a lot of time, although I do enjoy doing it. So today's crafting is a stamper stack of Christmas cards. I still need some Christmas cards. I do buy a few every year, just, you know, to be on the safe side in case I don't get everything made, but I'd rather send my own cards. And so I thought, well, it would be really nice to stamp a stack with you in real time. My aim is to get 12 of them done in our time together this afternoon. Let's see how we do. I've got some tips along the way for mass producing cards as well, and so I hope you'll find that useful. Let me know, are you going to stamp along with me, or are you going to wait and see what I do and then decide, or are you doing something else? Welcome, Kay. It's lovely to have you here. I'm so glad you could join us today. All right, so what I'm going to do now is put the camera down to my desk, which, as you know, always takes just a little bit of fiddling around with, and then I will get on with the crafting, and I will try very hard to press the right buttons to get everything around the right way, but as you will know from last time, sometimes I hit the wrong button, so I'm really trying very hard with that. Okay, so everything's gone yellow. I'm just going to move the camera down, and I'm also going to hopefully press the right button to flip everything round. I think it's that one. I really wish they would bring back this feature where they turn it blue when you've turned it on, because I can't tell if that has actually worked or not. I don't know if the button's on or not. Okay, so I've got leads everywhere. Let me see if I can do something about those. And I'm going to just take the thing off my camera lens and we'll see if I hit the button I needed to reverse things so you've got them around the right way, and I'm not at all sure that I have. Oh, maybe I have. Maybe I have. Okay, so now I've got to just work out how to adjust things so you can see a little bit better and you can see straight, because that doesn't look straight to me. Let's see if we can sort that out. Still not straight. Okay, and I've still got a trailing wire. Let me clip these out of the way somewhere. Okay, hopefully that will work. All right, I'm sorry about the legs on this. I don't know. Let's move my camera just slightly, but I think that might be about as good as we can get today. Oh, there we go. That's a little bit better, isn't it? Belinda's saying it's looking good. Thank you. I don't have the perfect setup here, but most of my work is done face to face with people, so that's where the vast majority of my investment goes, but hopefully this is good enough. All right, so what am I going to do? So I've got this card design here. I scrolled round Pinterest looking for quick and easy card designs, and there were lots of ideas there, and they inspired me to come up with this card. So I've got a card base, which is a landscape card base. Then I've got a contrast card layer, patterned paper, and then a white layer on top. I've punched a shape out so that you can see the patterned paper through it, stamped my Happy Christmas, and then I've just added a rhinestone. Then on the inside, I've used the same stamp, and that is my punch out on the insert. So it's the same bit that came out here. No, it's not. That's a load of rubbish, because that would have been white. It's not the same bit. It's the bit from the scrap where I cut my layer of paper. Okay, right. Now I know what I'm doing. And I have got a measurement sheet here for you. There we go. I did put these in the event details, but you might like to have them down there as well, and I'll read them out in case that's a little bit small. So if you're going to work along with me, these are the measurements. So you might like to write them down and have them by you, because I'm going to be cutting my card to these measurements now. So my card base is 11.5 inches by 4 inches. And I've scored that landscape at 5 3/4, and that is Mr. Brown. So will you bear with me? I'll be back shortly. Okay, sorry about that. That was indeed Mr. Brown. It wasn't my usual Mr. Brown though. I don't know if you had the usual Mr. Brown, Belinda. It was obviously a relief driver who was very nice, but I have got a gift for my usual Mr. Brown, Andy. But I don't want to give it to the wrong guy. Okay, Lynn Freeman loves a visit from Mr. Brown. Yes, if you don't know, Mr. Brown is what we affectionately call the UPS driver, because obviously they come in a brown van and their uniform is brown. I'm sure some of them are actually called Mr. Brown, but mine isn't. Anyway, where was I? Right, measurements. I hope you were writing these down somewhere handy while I was gone. So that was the card base. The contrast card is 5 1/4 by 3 1/2. My patterned paper is 5 1/8 by 3 3/8. I know that's a fiddly measurement. It's because I really liked this narrow border. But if you want, if you're happy with a wider border, then you could cut your patterned paper slightly smaller. You could make that 5 inches by 3 1/4 if you'd rather. 5 inches by 3 1/4, but I've gone with the extra eighths. My white layer is 4 3/4 inches by 3 inches, and my insert is 5 1/2 inches by 3 3/4 inches. Okay, so hopefully that is clear. Oh, Belinda, you got Andy today. Okay, it must be my round that they've taken off him. I hope they put him back. Otherwise, I shall have to give you my gift to give him. Okay, so that's the measurements. The other things I'm using are paper from the Tidings of Christmas pack. This is beautiful. I've used lots of this already, and it's in the Annual Catalogue. I'll show you just a few of the designs. Lots of them I have completely used up. So this is the one I'm using today. They're lovely on the back as well. The backs of the paper are not particularly festive, most of them, so it's quite a versatile pack. I have the Pine Tree Punch, and my Happy Christmas is from the Happy Holidays set here. I'm using Cherry Cobbler ink, which matches my contrast card layer, and I have some rhinestones here. These are from the Holiday Rhinestones pack. They're Cherry Cobbler. Obviously, I could have coloured ordinary rhinestones with my Cherry Cobbler Stamping Blends marker. So that works as well. And depending on what you're using, you may have a completely different embellishment. You may have a different punched shape. You could, of course, die cut a shape here, but for the sake of stamping a whole stack in a relatively short time, a punch is much quicker, which is why I decided to go with that. So let me know if you are actually working along with me. And Triana isn't crafting because she's but she should be, because she's run out of Christmas cards. Oh dear. Right, are you watching surreptitiously while you're at work, Triana? Is that why you're not crafting along? What else? Oh, and I've got some dimensionals, some stamping dimensionals, which I'm going to use around the edge here. You can stick this flat if you'd rather, but I do like it raised up. All right then, so let's get working. Oh, the only other thing I haven't said is that I'm actually going to use 2 designs of this paper. I've got this one here, which is this all over foliage, and I've got this one here, which is a red one. And I'm saying that, and I don't think I was going to do that in the end, because, oh yes I am, yeah. I prepared this so long ago, I can't remember what I was going to do. Yeah, so I should be doing some like this, and then somewhere I'm substituting this paper, and I'll be swapping around the colours of my contrast card and my evening evergreen base here for that one. So I won't need to do 6 of each, but you'll see as I get started. All right, so let me start going down the list of my measurements. So I need my card bases first of all, and one of my tips for doing a lot of crafting in a short time is to do all your cutting in one go. So I'm going to cut all the card bases together before I even think about cutting anything else. So here we go. So I'm going to do 6 like the sample I just showed you. So that means 3 sheets of evening evergreen card, and then I'm going to do 3 using the other card, the other patterned paper, which means I'm going to do 6 card bases in Cherry Cobbler, which needs 3 sheets. I'll get 2 card bases from each sheet of paper. So I'm going to bring in my trimmer. And I'm going to cut these down. Can I get this all underneath? I'm going to have to move something, I think, onto the floor. Let's just sort this out a little bit. You can't see the chaos I've got on my table already, and I've hardly got started. Right, okay. Put my trimmer straight. There we are. So I'm going to cut these first of all at 11.5 inches. And I'm going to do that with all 6 pieces because it's much quicker. I've got that kind of 11.5 inch measurement in my head. I know how far along my trimmer I'm going with the card pretty much. And although I'm only saving seconds each time by doing this repeat, it does make a difference. So that's my 3 sheets of cherry cobbler cut to 11.5. This is my evening evergreen. And Triana's got the afternoon off. She's lounging on the sofa being lazy. Well, you enjoy it, Aunt Triana. I shouldn't think that happens very often. All right, this is my last piece now to cut at 11.5. Okay, and now I'm going to score them. I could bring in my scoreboard, but actually I'm just going to use my trimmer because that's the quickest way of doing it rather than swapping my tools around. So I need to score this at 5 3/4. So I'm going to do that next. And then I'll finally cut my card bases at 4 inches, and both of those will then be scored. So rather than cut my card bases individually and then score each one, it's much quicker to score the whole sheet and then to cut it down. You'll see what I mean now. All right, so that's got all of these scored. Marjorie's here. You're very welcome, Marjorie. Don't worry. All I've done is started to cut my card to size for my card bases. You'll be able to see on the replay what the measurements were for everything. I showed those on a bit of paper. But briefly, I've cut all my A4 card down to 11.5 inches long. I've then scored it at 5 3/4 inches, and I'm now going to cut each one the other way at 4 inches. So this is my 11.5 inches, and this is my full width of A4 card. So I'm now going to cut that at 4 inches, and you can see that's scored straight away. And there's always just a little bit to trim off there, and that one's scored as well. So that saved me a step by doing that scoring on the large piece of card and then trimming it down. It's much quicker. So in no time we're going to have 12 card bases ready to go. This design will of course work with any kind of Christmas paper, and you might have a bauble punch, you might have a deer or a moose. We had a moose last year which I adored, although it didn't carry over unfortunately. Or you might be doing something completely different. This would make a lovely birthday card, maybe some floral paper and a flower punch. You might be using stars. It will work for all sorts of things. It definitely doesn't just have to be what I'm doing, and it doesn't actually have to be a Christmas card either. Right, so that's my 12 card bases ready. I'll fold them and use my bone folder on them properly in just a minute, but I'm going to just keep cutting. So the next thing I'm going to do is cut my contrast card. So that is the layer which on here is the cherry cobbler. So I've got 6 evening evergreen bases, so I need 6 pieces of cherry cobbler, and then for the ones that I've reversed where I've got the cherry cobbler base, I'm going to need 6 pieces of evening evergreen. So let's cut those now. All right, so I've got my cherry cobbler, so I'm cutting this at 5 1/4 inches first of all. And one A4 sheet is going to give me 4 pieces. So I want just one more. So that will give me my 6 cherry cobbler pieces. And I just need some evening evergreen now. Here we go. So I'm going to cut these all at the same measurement and then I'll cut them down. So 5 1/4. And one more 5 1/4. All right, so these are all now cut to my 5 1/4 width, and now I need to cut them here at 3 1/2 inches. So is anybody cutting along with me? Or is anybody crafting on anything else? Because you might be crafting on something completely different. Belinda might be stroking her new goodies. Because of course, Belinda is a demonstrator on my team, and demonstrators were able to order early from the forthcoming January to June catalogue. And so that's why Belinda has got new things to play with. Lynn's writing her Christmas cards. Well done, Lynn. I love making Christmas cards. I really love receiving Christmas cards. I hate writing Christmas cards and I always leave it. Every year I vow to start writing them in November, and every year I don't. And I send, well, a lot of Christmas cards. I send around, I don't know, 50 or 60 for my business, and then we send about 100 personal ones, so it's quite a lot of cards. My husband writes his name on them, but I do everything else, so it's a job I always put off. Right, so those are my contrast card layers. So now I'm going to cut my pattern paper. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 sheets of this one, and then hopefully 6 sheets of this one. Yes. Now, if you're cutting along with me, just check the pattern direction on your paper. This one is random. This one is very directional. It goes up and down that way. In fact, I'm not sure which way this should be. It looks better that way, I think, that way. So don't cut them and then end up with the pattern sideways on. Now, I'm going to cut 2 of these at a time because my trimmer is quite happy with cutting 2 lots of paper at a time. So my paper is going to be 5 1/8 inch across. So let's do that first. And if you're wondering, on the trimmer, I wonder if I can show you where 5 1/8 is. Let me bring this up slowly. Hopefully the camera will focus. I'll try and get it in shot and then I'll show you. Okay, so each of these little marks, you've got the big numbers here, which are the inches, and each of the little individual marks here are 1/16 of an inch. So 1/8 of an inch is 2 marks in from the inch line. So we're doing 5 1/8. So here's the 5 inches. So that would be 5 1/16, and that's 5 1/8 there. So 2 little marks in from 5 inches, or to the left of 5 inches. I know for some people, 1/8 of an inch and 1/16 of an inch are like a foreign language. Which is understandable. I always used to work in centimetres for sewing and things like that. I was taught at school mostly in centimetres. I had a little bit of inches tuition when I was very small, but mostly it was centimetres. But when I started paper crafting, because so much of it has come over from the United States where they work in inches, and of course 12 by 12 paper is 12 inches square, I have gradually moved over to working in inches, and I actually find them much easier to use now than centimetres. And if you do a direct conversion from inches to centimetres, you end up with all sorts of stupid measurements with, you know, percentage points of millimetres and this sort of thing, which is not fun in anybody's book. And to convert something to sensible centimetres, you basically have to start the design all over again. So I do tend, I must admit, to stick with one set of measurements. So Marjorie's saying that 1/8 inch aren't as foreign as metric. I'm inclined to agree with you, Marjorie. All right, so my paper now, I've cut it all one way. It's all 5 1/8 inch wide, and I now need to cut it down this way at 3 3/8 inch. So to find 3/8 inch, you just find the 3 and then you do 6 little marks to the left, bearing in mind that each mark is a 1/16 inch, so 2 of them will be 1/8. So that's 1/16, 1/8, 2/8, 3/8. There we go, 3 3/8. I think it's one of those things that once you get used to using 8s, they don't seem quite as bad as you thought they were. And you get to know where they are. I mean, I know that 3/8 inch is 2 little marks to the right of the 1/2 inch mark. So if I go, I usually look at 3 1/2 inches, which is here, and then I come back the 8th. There we go. Right, so that's all my patterned paper cut. Now I'm going to cut my white, but what I want to do first is have some of my tea, because I can see it's going cold. It's getting that nice scummy finish to it. There we go. Right, white card. So I need 12 inserts, no, sorry, 12 layers. I will need 12 inserts as well. So my white layer is 4 3/4 by 3 inches. And standard basic white card, you can actually cut 2 layers of at a time. So I'm just going to double those up. Oops, I've moved those. So I've now got 2 pieces of A4 here. Cut those at 4 3/4. And then at 3. There we are, so that's my top layer, and then all I need to cut now are my insert pieces, which are also from basic white, and these are going to be 5 1/2 by 3 3/4 inches. So again, I've got 2 pieces of card here. Let's cut the 5 1/2 first. And then we'll cut the other way at 3 3/4. So I'm not a great fan of making lots of things that are identical, although I do tend to do that more at Christmas. But you'll notice that even with this, I couldn't quite bring myself to make 12 cards all with the same paper. So I've switched the paper around, so I'm doing half of one and half another. Although actually that's often something that it's sensible to do with patterned paper, because you've obviously only got so many pieces in a pack. So you might be doing it for that practical reason as well. Right, so that is all the cutting. So I'll put my trimmer out of the way. So I have 12 inserts, 12 pieces of patterned paper, 12 top layers, 12 contrast card layers, and I have my 12 card bases. And then I've got a pile of scraps, which I'm just going to move out of the way. The big pieces I will keep because I'm going to be able to punch some Christmas trees out of those for my inserts. And the smaller pieces I will put to one side because I'm sure I can find a use for those. Just going to move this slightly. There we are. All right, so let me find my bone folder. And I'm just going to fold my bases. And if you didn't know, the side with the bump on it is the one which you make into a valley fold. So this is my bump, so I'm going to fold over like that. And a valley fold is one like this, makes like a little valley. And the opposite is a mountain fold that makes a mountain. And because of the way the fibres stretch, the direction in which they stretch when you score your card, if you fold it with the bump on the inside, then these fibres here have been stretched, and so they will quite happily be on the outside of your fold here. And this direction is longer than this direction here. So if you've got stretched fibres here, they will stretch around that longer direction. Now it's only fractional, obviously. I don't know what the measurement would be. Tiny, tiny, tiny measurement longer on the outside of a fold, but it does make a difference. So if you find that you're using card or paper that is buckling when you fold it, it may be that you're not folding it with the bump forming a valley fold. It might also be that you thought you'd take a shortcut and you haven't scored it. In which case, start scoring, because it's never a shortcut to not score your card or paper, because you never get such a nice result. Right, let me have a time check. Okay, so we're 25 to 3. So I've got everything cut and prepared. So there's a number of ways of proceeding. What I'm going to do is I'm going to prepare my white layers. I'm going to prepare my inserts. And then I'm going to do my gluing. So that's the way I'm going to work it. So I need my smaller white pieces for the front. And I'm just going to show you a little trick for making sure that your punched shape is in the right place so that you can fit your sentiment on. So the first thing I'm going to do is punch out a tree shape. And I'm going to use this on one of the inserts so it won't be wasted. And now I'm going to find a post-it note. And in fact, I'm going to set that aside. I'm just going to use the post-it note actually. So here's one I've punched out of a post-it note, and I've kept some of the sticky on the bottom here. Okay, so this bit is loose, but I've used the bit at the bottom there. Now let me find my stamp, which is here. So if I put my tree there, can I fit my stamp in? And the answer is yes, I can just, but it's a little bit tight. So I'm going to move this over a little bit more that way. And that's a bit more comfortable. So I now know that if I punch exactly there, then I've got plenty of room to fit my tree, to fit my words on to the right of the tree. So I'm just going to slide that in my punch. I've got my punch upside down, and hopefully you can see that I've exactly matched that tree shape in there. So now I know exactly where I needed to punch that. So I'm now going to repeat that with all my layers. And actually I'll do a couple just to show you the process again, but I can probably guesstimate it after I've done a couple, because I'll look at this little gap here. Okay, and I'm also looking at where this line here is, and this is pretty much in line with the top of the Stampin' Up logo, which you probably can't see, but will help me with placement in a minute. So that's a couple I've lined up using my post-it note, but now I think I can probably pretty much get that right just by sliding it in. There we go. That one's a little bit far over, so we'll go a little bit closer for this one. There we go, that's better. I can see if I go too far, so I can just slide it back in a bit. This is quite possibly the most time-consuming part of all of it. I don't have a plan for these little white Christmas trees, so if you've got an idea as to what I could do with them, let me know, because we don't like to throw things away, do we, as crafters? Okay, this is the last one of these. Right, have I missed any comments? No, I haven't, I don't think. Okay, so let's put those aside in case one of you has a brilliant idea for what I should be doing with them. All right, so now I'm going to do all my stamping on these. So I have my Cherry Cobbler ink pad. Got my stamp on my block, which I did earlier because I wanted to make absolutely sure that I had it straight. And there we go. Remembering to re-ink the stamp each time. This is really dark when the ink is wet. It lightens up slightly as it dries, but it's a really lovely, rich red, I think, Cherry Cobbler. I do like it a lot. So Marjorie's saying I should make a garland, put some sparkles on them. Now that is a very nice idea, Marjorie. Thank you. I do like a bit of sparkle. So once again, I'm completing the whole stack of card layers with each process. So I cut them all, then I punched them all, and now I'm stamping them all. And this is a great time saver as opposed to picking one up, punching it, stamping it, setting it aside, and then picking up the next one. If you've got plenty of time and you're not on a mission, then you can work in any way you like. But for these, I'm aiming to get my 12 cards done in about an hour's crafting time. So I'm looking to shortcut time wherever I can. Last one. There we go. So that's all of those stamped. So now I want my inserts, and I'm going to do those as well. There we go, 12 of those. I'm just going to shut that a moment. First of all, I need some punched Christmas tree shapes. I'm going to put one of these on each insert, so I need 6 in this pattern and then 6 in the red paper. Probably a little bit more economical actually to turn the paper around like this. I think you can fit, hopefully, an extra shape in doing it this way. Can I get one more out of it? I think I probably can. There we go. So that's my 6 in that pattern, and now I need 6 in the other pattern. Somewhere on my desk are the scraps. Here they are. Now this one I need to keep up the same way because it's a directional pattern. So I can't punch them out quite so economically. There we are. So that's got those done. Oh, and Antriana is suggesting for those leftover Christmas trees in white, blending brushes on make gift tags with a tag punch. Oh, I like that one too. Such good ideas, ladies. Thank you. Let me know if you think of anything else. I'm just going to drink some tea. Okay, so I've got my trusty glue out. So I'm now going to glue the trees on. Let me show you my insert. So I've just got a little tree at the bottom. And that one I did stick on slightly over the edge and trim it off, but I think I might just stick these on in their entirety because that is going to remove the trimming step, isn't it? And save me a little bit of time. And using this glue means that if I put one on and it looks like it's got a bit of a lean on it, then I can straighten it up very easily. Plus, it's very fast drying, and we are crafting at speed today, aren't we? Ooh, that one's got a lean on it, talking of which. That's better. Then my last preparatory step, once I've stuck these on, will be to stamp Happy Christmas on my inserts, and then all I've got to do is glue everything together. shall probably end up punching out some more of these to stick on the envelopes. But I must admit I haven't factored envelope decoration time in today because, strictly speaking, it is optional, although it's something I like to do. Bits sticking to my card, and I've got a bit of there that's missing some glue there. Nearly done. Right, this is the last insert. So now I can stamp them, but before I do that, I'm just going to try and wipe some of this glue off my fingers. There we go. All right, so I'm using the same stamp, same ink pad. Try and get it all straight. There we go. I guess I could have changed to Evening Evergreen ink inside this, but I haven't because I'm just stamping a stack today. So you've all gone very quiet. I'm hoping the sound and everything is still working okay, and that you are just either concentrating on your own crafting or watching with silent enjoyment. There we go, that's all the stamping done. Put my ink pad and my inky stamp well out of the way. Yeah, I've got cherry cobbler ink on me, that's par for the course. All right, so that's my inserts, and that's my top layers. There we go. And I'm just going to separate these out. So I've got my two colourways. All right, so I'm now going to start gluing things, and once again I'm going to do all the gluing for a particular stage in one go and then move on to the next stage. So I'm going to glue my patterned paper to my contrast card layer first of all. And I've got 6 that are like this, and then I've got 6 with the other colours and paper design. And I've got a very narrow 1/16 of an inch border around this, but by using that liquid glue I can slide my layers and get that border nice and even. So Andriana's saying she would use the spare trees for gift tags, use the scrap DSP at the bottom, use the tailored tag punch, daub different greens on the white trees and add a bit of bling. That sounds beautiful, Andriana. I think I may well have to do that with some of those. And certainly tags are very good ways of using up these little strippy bits of paper you get left over. I quite often stick them on the inserts, but they're also great for tags as well. And I do love the tailor-made tags dies. I didn't think I needed them, and then I kept seeing lovely projects using them. And I've used them such a lot since I've had them. Well, actually, I don't think you said tailor-made tags, did you? Did you say, oh, the tailored tag punch? Yes. Yeah. So much you can do with your bits and pieces. That's why we crafters never throw anything away, isn't it? I do throw away more scraps now than I used to before I was running classes and things, because I would be drowning in them otherwise, but I do like to use them wherever I can. Right, so we're on to the other colours now. And all of a sudden, in a minute, these cards are going to come together because everything is prepared, ready for them. And once you actually get everything onto the card base, it's suddenly a completed card. Right, this is the last paper and card layer. Alrighty, let's gather those up. Now I want my card bases. Let's do the red ones first, I think. So I'll find my cherry cobbler card bases, which are here. And I'm going to line them all up the same way round with the fold on the left. Make sure I don't get any cards which are opening the wrong way. That one was folded the other way. There we are. So now I'm just going to glue these to my card base. again, you can see it's coming together really quickly. All that preparation being done at the beginning makes it so much quicker than if I was cutting the layers for each card individually and then assembling the card. And there are certainly times for leisurely crafting, but if you need a lot more Christmas cards, I reckon this is the way to make them in the most time effective way. And I'm still having fun. It's not like I've taken the fun out of it. Right, so that's 6 of those. Now I have my evening evergreen card bases here. And Triana was talking about the delightful tag topper. Yes, I know the one you mean. That is lovely. And being a punch, it's very quick to use as well. So if we're still talking about time saving, that would maximize the number of tags I could make in my available time. I know there are a lot of taggy things, aren't there? There's a delightful tag topper. There's the tailored, I think it is called the tailored tag punch, isn't it? Which is the sort of the diamond shape with the squared off ends. Then there are the dies, and I can't remember what those are called, but the ones with the stitching. So yeah, lots of tag stuff going on. Okay, so this is the last but one. Okay, so now I'm ready for my top layer here. So I can choose to either stick these down flat or to lift them up on dimensionals. And I think I should probably do half and half. I'm going to use as much as I can the edge strips of my dimensionals. So I'm just snipping the strip that goes around the edge just so that I can actually take them off as a long piece rather than as a frame piece. I do need a little bit of extra support in this area, so I can use that excess there. Also much quicker if you're using these edge pieces because you can take the backing off far faster than if you were using individual dimensionals. We do also have the foam adhesive strips in the catalogue, which are great. However, they are deeper than our standard dimensionals, so that can affect the postage rate that you have to send them at. Whereas one layer of our dimensionals will normally go at a standard letter without needing a large stamp on it. Stuck to my finger. Let's pop that on there. and just add some couple of little supporting bits in here, just so it doesn't get squashed in the post. I'm not sure what's happening with this little bit of the strip here. It's all over the place. Let's just get rid of that. Oops. Right, I have one more sheet of dimensionals here that I can use the edge strips off, and then I shall be using the normal ones. Oops. Can you see okay? The light is fading outside. I can put my extra light on if you like, but sometimes that makes the shadows worse. So let me know if you'd like me to try that. And I can do. One, two, three, four, five. Right, I'm going to do one more with dimensionals and then I shall glue the rest flat. So we'll have a bit of a mixture then. Okay, so I'll bring in my prepared card bases, again making sure that I've got them the right way round, and then stick my layers down. And once I've done this, there's only two steps. There's a rhinestone for each one and an insert to stick in, and then I'm going to have my stack of 12 Christmas cards. So the dimensionals obviously are not easy to slide once they are down, so I will try and get these right first time. I think I've done all those. No, not that one. Oops, gluing myself to my card. Okay, nobody's complained about the light, so I'm assuming that you're doing okay with it. I'm not good on these dark winter days. There was a little bit of sunshine today, but it didn't last for very long, at least here it didn't. And we're back to that grey sky again and really, really low light levels. Okay, only one more now after this. For all the peeling off of the back, I've done all the green ones raised up, and then I'll do all the red ones glued flat. There we are. Right, I'm just going to get rid of some of this dimensional backing debris into my bin. Okay, and then these will go on a little bit more speedily. How are we doing for time? Not quite 3:15. I meant to make a note of when I started crafting, but I didn't. I don't know if anybody noticed. It's probably about 20 past, something like that, maybe 25 past. So I'm just putting some glue around the aperture as well, just to keep everything sitting really nice and flat. I hadn't made one of these in red as a sample. I did make the green one, obviously, because I showed you that, the one with the green patterned paper. But I do rather like this in the red. It's very bright and cheery. Right, a last one of these. Then I'm going to pop the inserts in, and I'm going to add the rhinestone as the final touch. So here are my inserts. I must make sure that I put the correct patterned paper inside the correct card. and get it with the words the right way up. That always helps. Right, this is the last cherry cobbler one. And now on the evening evergreen ones. Oh, that's sticky there. Let me just get rid of that with my adhesive eraser. That's better. Okay, we are so nearly done. I'm really pleased to have made these. Thank you for keeping me company while I did. I'm still working on cards for my team. I've got the design sorted, but I haven't actually made them yet. But other than that, I'm hoping that with these I now have enough cards made. Okay, last insert going in, then it's bling time and we're done. Okay, so here are my rhinestones, and I'm just wondering if I have any in green left and if they will work on the other card. Yes, I do. So here's my pack of holiday rhinestones, and although these are not evening evergreen, I'm wondering if I can get away with them on this one, and I think I probably can. So I'm going to put the red ones on my cards with the green trees, and then I shall use some of those green ones on the other design, I think, because I just like that bit of green on there rather than some more red. I should be using my take your pick tool for this, but I have forgotten to put it out with the right attachment on it. So I'm just going with my craft knife. Right, so that's the green ones, green trees I should say. Obviously they were not green rhinestones. And let me have a look, I want the big ones. Yeah, that's better than a red one would have been, I think. Thank you, Andriana. I'm glad you like them. Yeah, they look nice now. They're just getting their little finishing touch. I am pleased with them. And they're a simple card, but they're not too simplistic, I hope. They look like there's a little bit of thought gone into them, and of course because of the colour coordination, everything just looks beautiful. They look really kind of professional. So let me show you the finished cards. So we have 12 cards done in about an hour. I might have gone fractionally over the hour. I've been on air, is that what we say? I don't know, been on air more than an hour, but there was quite a lot of chat at the beginning. So in terms of actual crafting time, I've crafted for about an hour. I've got 12 cards. I'm very pleased with that. Oh, my tea is definitely cold now. Let me just slowly lift this up and hopefully give you a proper look. My camera focus, I can move it forward a little bit, that'll be better I think. Waiting for my iPad to catch up, there we go. Okay, it probably needs to come down. I won't lift this one up so high. This is the cherry cobbler version. So there we are. Right, I am now very quickly just going to turn the camera back up to me so that I can say a fond farewell to you. Right, let's try and take off the reverse. So yeah, that worked. So I'm not looking like I'm in Australia. Ooh, unclip me, hang on. I've got all my wires clipped out of the way of my crafting. There we are, that's better. Okay, so it has been lovely to spend time with you today. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope if you either were crafting along or if you're going to do some crafting this weekend and you need lots of cards, you'll have a go at stamping a stack. You don't have to make them all identical. As you can see, I changed some colours around on mine, although the design stayed the same because that's what will save you the time. Remember to cut all your elements first and cut, if you're making 12 cards, cut 12 card bases, cut 12 layers, cut 12 or whatever pieces of paper, cut your 12 inserts, and then do all your sticking of your inserts in one go. Then gradually do all the other stages, but do them for all the cards before you move on to the next stage, and that will save you quite a lot of time while still giving you a really enjoyable crafting session. So I will be back here next week, which is going to be, I'm looking across at my calendar, the 10th of December. I'm going to be doing last minute Christmas cards next week, so some ideas for some really quick Christmas cards. And the week after that I will be doing thank you cards, the 17th, and that will be my last working day before Christmas. So I'm hoping that will be helpful. Last minute cards next week and thank you cards the week after, because nothing shows how much you appreciate somebody like sending a handmade card. So hopefully you will have lots of things to say thank you for at Christmas and you'll have your cards already. But until next week, I'm going to say bye-bye. Please hit the like and share on this. That really helps me out. And I hope you have a lovely weekend. I'll be back and see you next week. Bye-bye.